Hello, welcome to part 1 of our Claudio Basics Guide. Reminder that this is game version 4.2. This first part will be essential tools, which will include essential moves, grabs, punishers, and basic combos. In part 2, we'll talk about common game plan elements and recommend players to watch, as well as cap it off with a character summary. For beginners, note the resource links in the video description below. I've included several you should check out. Be sure to at least learn notation so that you can follow along easier. Now let's talk about our favorite Italian. He's our favorite, right? Right? Claudio just has the one stance, but it's fairly unique, so we'll save that for part 2 as usual. Claudio's 1-2 is mostly standard, if a little goofy looking, although he does have the traditional PK combo in 1-3. 2-1 is a really solid high mid poke with a third counter hit launching hit for cover, which is unsafe as you'd expect, but still good to steal back initiative. Nothing super fancy here, just a couple of nice options. Standing 4 is a safe I-12 high, although Claudio can convert a juggle off of counter hit 4, it can be very inconsistent, so you normally have to commit to 4-3 if you want an easy juggle. 4-3 is very safe on block at 0, it's a natural combo, the second hit is homing, and it can splat. The big downside is that it's a double high. Still useful, just be careful with it. You can also do the second hit by itself as forward 3, which you'll likely do more often since it's really strong and less likely to be ducked when not part of a string. Forward 4 is an I-22 power mid, plus 4 on hit and block and forces crouch, slams on counter hit. One of your primary pressure tools, just be aware that it's a little on the slow side. Forward 3 plus 4 is an I-17 homing high, plus 2 on block, so another strong pressure tool, knockdown on hit for a free follow-up. Another high, but fast enough to have solid utility, just don't overuse it. Down forward 1 is a safe I-15 mid poke, a bit slow for a down forward 1, but still has the really good frames of a standard down forward 1, along with a second launching hit for cover, which is also a natural combo if you want to make a big read on someone ducking. Extremely unsafe, but very scary for your opponent to mindlessly swing at or try to duck after down forward 1. Down forward 2 is an I-14 mid counter hit launcher with a nice tendency to sneak under jabs, negative 13 on block, so don't abuse it, but still very fast for a mid counter hit launch. Down forward 3 is a safe I-14 mid, 2 string options. Down forward 3-2 is your safe high option. Down forward 3-1 is your unsafe mid option. However, both are confirmable natural combos from down forward 3, which is really nasty near the wall since down forward 3-1 can splat both close and fairly far out. Down forward 4 is a safe I-13 mid poke, nice range and gives really good spacing on block and hit, so really good for creating whiffs if they're not being patient. Just a nice, simple tool. Down 1-2 is a safe I-17 mid-mid natural combo on counter hit. Both hits are safe if you just want to poke with down 1. The Starburst version is definitely way better, which we'll talk about later, but normal down 1-2 is still decent. These are your 3 main high crushing low pokes, all of which have their place. Down 3 and down 4 have way more range than down 2, so they're better for spacing and setups, but down 2 is safer than both, does more damage than down 4, and has a second hit for cover. If you're in Starburst, the second hit will launch on hit 2. You'll definitely see down 3 and down 4 more since they're faster, especially down 4, but be sure to sprinkle in a little of all of them. Speaking of high crushes, Claudio has a special crouch jab combo. Down back 2-1 is only a natural combo on counter hit and is negative 13 on block. However, it's decent for the occasional use since it does a lot more damage than a solo crouch jab and you're still at plus 3 on hit. So don't abuse it, but know that you have it. Down back 3 is an I-24 power low, plus 3 on hit, juggle on counter hit, very risky on block and it's seeable, but it high crushes, which is where it earns its money. You can try to mix it with moves of similar speed like up forward 3 to help keep your opponent on their toes, just don't get too crazy with trying to use it as a mix-up tool. Down back 4-3 is an I-15 low-high natural combo. If you really need to break a shell, this is probably how you'll do it, at least without a sidestep. Down back 4 is negative 13 on block, and down back 4-3 is only negative 11, but it can of course be ducked, which is the real risk. In general, you'll probably be doing a lot more down 3 and down 4 and trying to set up whiffs, but this is still very useful. Back 1 is a safe I-18 homing mid, knockdown splat on hit, and fairly rangy. This is easily your best homing tool and very simple to use. Back 2 is a safe I-14 high, knockdown on hit, but this is the easiest way to charge Starburst, so you'll be using it a lot for that purpose. Back 3 is a safe I-13 mid-knee. This is your replacement for a generic 13 frame down forward 1 and in some respects is better. For 1, it's a knee which will beat a lot of parries, it's still +7 on hit, and despite being -4 on block, it has a second hit for cover that will launch on counter hit and still does chunky damage on normal hit. Back 3-3 is -12 on block, which honestly isn't that bad for the reward that you can get with it. Either way, it'll give you back some initiative, especially considering that you can delay it a little, so they have to respect it. Back 4 is an I-17 mid. It's not great on its own, but you have a couple of string options. Back 4-1 and back 4-2 are both natural combos, the former being a safe high, the latter being an unsafe mid. Both can splat, although back 4-2 will always knock down and also charges Starburst on hit. Back 4-3-2 exists, but is normally reserved for combos unless you have Starburst, since that version is significantly better, and even then, it's not insanely great. Up 4-3 is an I-23 low crushing power mid. Claudio's orbital only launches on counter hit, but it has really good range and it's +2 on block, +7 on hit, and forces crouch for both. So it's still really strong as a pressure tool. Make note of up 4-2 also. Up 4-3 is better in most instances. However, up 4-2 will always knock down on hit and will splat at the wall. Up forward 4 is an I-15 low crushing launcher. Claudio's hopkick is easily the best in the game thanks to its absurd hitbox, which hits very far and low. Because he dips down, it's also known for going under highs too. There are a ton of setups for it as a result, and be mindful of the matchup because at max range, jabs can whiff, so characters or players leaning hard on jab punishers may struggle. Claudio has a really strong set of approach tools. Running 2 is his replacement for generic running 3, but is better in most aspects. It's faster, it low crushes earlier, it does more damage, it can still knock down splat, and it charges Starburst on hit. It's just a high instead of a mid, which does make the low crushing property more defensive than offensive. However, forward 4 and forward 1+2 are both safe knockdown splatting mids that you can mix in. Forward 4 has the better block frames, but forward 1+2 has slightly more range and can also charge Starburst on hit. If you're feeling spazzy, you can also mix in some of the forward 2 string to keep your opponents on their toes. Either way, practice your instant running 2 and have fun. Sidestep 4 is an I-20 power low, only -12 on block, +6 on hit, and a knockdown on counter hit. The common mid to use as a mix-up is back 1, however you can mix in some of his other slower mids like forward 4. There isn't any mid that's the exact same speed that you can use for this purpose, but back 1 is normally enough. Just vary your timings to make it harder to tell. This is one of, if not your best low, so use it liberally. Claudio's Rage Drive is a beefed up version of his back 4-2. Rather than being a separate move, it's merely a cancel of back 4-2 into a dash, but that cancel gives you +7 on block and turns back 4-2 into a launcher. It also charges Starburst on hit, block, and whiff, the only move that will do that. So on hit, you're getting a big launch, on block, you're getting Starburst pressure, and even on whiff, you still get Starburst into a dash. It's incredibly strong. Not much of a grab game for Claudio, unfortunately. He only has the normals and a single 1+2 break, so you'll struggle to land one on an opponent who has even a little bit of breaking ability. Even on break, 2+4 is the only one that has some use to shift you away from the wall a little bit. Regardless, grabs shouldn't be your focus with Claudio. This brings us to the end of part 1. You should now know all the basic tools that you need to get started and play some matches. In part 2, we'll talk more about other aspects of Claudio's game plan to help put it all together. Expect that here in a couple of days. And with that, thanks for checking out this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications here on YouTube so that you get alerted when a new video drops. Twitch and Twitter links are also down below. Lastly, huge thank you to our patrons. The more support we have, the more resources we can devote to channel content. So again, I can't thank everyone enough for considering supporting the Patreon. Stay safe, everyone, and we'll catch you next time.